Hey everybody. I'm sure that Richard has introduced me, but I am Brian Prather, the set designer for the production. Now, I really wish I was there with you guys tonight, and I had every intention of being. It's just, as we all know, sometimes even the best planning in theater don't mix well. But now that I have your attention, I want to make the most of this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what this production of Fiddler is going to look like. From the beginning of our process, Richard and I both wanted to avoid the Chagall imagery that is used in a lot of productions and also the pageantry of dragging a lot of set pieces in and out for every scene and every location. There's nothing wrong with that approach. We just wanted something a little different. Of course, we want our environment to have the sense of the story's origins with all its real and earthy texture. But we were also drawn more to the vivid life of the people. Richard and I were both fascinated by the folk art of the time, created by the Jewish people living in the Pale settlements and surrounding regions. These images in particular were key for me. If you look closely, you'll see these images are composed of layers of colored paper, sometimes painted as well, that have been folded and cut out into these amazing designs. I mean, imagine folding a piece of paper to cut out a chain of paper dolls. Only in this case, you're trying to cut out a piece of lace, layered with another piece of papered lace, layered with another, and so on. We were also drawn to a favorite contemporary painter of mine and his use of soft textures and vivid color, contrasted with the stark and beautiful outline of trees to create emotional landscapes. Now, what really brought it all together for me was a comment that Richard made during some of our discussions. He said that he wanted something more poetic, something more iconic, more emotional. Why drag on a bunch of scenery if you can affect a location and emotion with just a simple gesture? Now, I'm not going to take you through every scene of the show. I'm hoping that the sketches of the different scenes that I've done will make their way to you in rehearsal so you can take a look. But what I do want to do is kind of give you a taste of the show, kind of show you some of the highlights of what this production will look like. When the audience enters, they'll see a portal arcing over the stage. You can probably already see the influence of the folk art paper cutouts in the overall design of the portal, as well as the smaller details, the little shapes, Jewish symbols, etc. that populate the frame. The color of the frame and the carved texture as well are pulled from the palette of our folk art research. Also, woven into the frame are two birch trees, a real and tangible part of our villagers' landscape. Just upstage of the portal is a natural colored scrim onto which we're going to project floating clouds, giving us a sense of time passing. As the play begins and the lights fade, bleeding through the scrim will be the image of our fiddler floating among the clouds. As the light widens, we will see the rooftops just below his feet, and then Tevye will appear, hazy as if speaking to us through a memory. Now, not until Tevye's proclaiming of tradition will we raise the scrim. The fiddler descends to the stage and joins the assembling villagers as the rooftops rise above them all. It's a simple gesture, but I think it's one that shows us in one moment the overlapping lives and intersecting stories that make Anatavka. You'll also notice that you see the designs of the portal reflecting around the entire space. You can see two sets of birch trees mark the entrances to stage right and left. And upstage, there is a similar structure to the portal, but it's more complete. It's a kind of cutout backdrop with its own symbols and textures and interwoven birch trees. Now, what you can't see as well in this sketch are the silhouettes of hills past the cutout backdrop, indicating the landscape beyond Anatavka. And then behind that is a cyc even further upstage, allowing us to color the sky or scene as we see fit. And what you also cannot see as well is the deck, which will be painted in the mottled but vivid style of the painter I showed in the research, but also flecked with colors from the rest of the set. Now, hopefully, what we've done is carry through these simple gestures to the rest of our set pieces. Tevye's house, for example, is almost literally the roof above the family's heads. These people don't just live in the landscape, but the land is part of them, part of their lives, and so you see these birch trees woven into the fabric of the house itself. The inn, where Tevye and Lazar Wolf make their bargain, it's an eclectic mix of carved tables and chairs and benches and stools, all that have a very handmade carved feel to them. The simple frame of Modal's tailor shop within the village. A gesture of a chuppah for the marriage, descending from the sky like a memory or a dream, while all around, hanging in the trees, lanterns will flicker like stars. At the end of the play, we'll see Tevye and his family gathered at their house around their table. As the villagers lament their leaving Anatevka, we'll see, one by one, the benches and tables and furnishing of Tevye's home carried away off stage. Then even the house itself will fly out, leaving Tevye alone with his cart. As a final gesture, as Tevye invites the fiddler to travel with him, the framed backdrop behind them will fly out as well, leaving only a barren landscape beyond. We'll watch as the two silhouettes slowly walk toward it and to their future. So, that's a sampling of what the show is going to look like. I hope you guys are as excited as Richard and I are to see this thing come to life. We've spent a lot of time thinking about how one scene can bleed into the next, how we can use the turntable in the theater to effect more efficient transitions, and also how some props in some scenic pieces can be used for multiple locations in multiple scenes, basically never slowing down the momentum of the show. The key to us is to keep the ideas simple but powerful and let the emotion of the show carry us through. I'm looking forward to finally being down there with you guys, so until then, enjoy the process, and I'll see you on stage. Thanks.